Hey everyone, I just wanted to hop on and we're going to give another teaser of some positive brain retraining activities and ways to implement positive psychology into our healing journey here today. Just a quick little message before we get started. We are ramping up to launch our online course of using therapeutic yoga for chronic fatigue, which would help with any stage of your healing journey. So if you're interested, there'll be a link right down below in the description. But for today, these are some free resources I put together that I wanted to just talk about from a lot of different brain retraining modalities. So enjoy the training. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have an awesome day full of healing. Hi everyone, I just wanted to jump on and do a video about elevating our mood using brain retraining and positive psychology. So as many of you know, I am a mental health therapist, and I have gone through a few of the brain retraining programs, including DNRS and a few of the other ones. And a constant theme that comes up is just how much of these programs is focused on positive psychology and behavioral activation, which has a lot to do with cognitive behavioral therapy. And it really isn't some magic secret thing that we need to pay all this money for. So much of it is very simple. And so I wanted to jump on today and just talk a little bit about elevating our mood and creating a positive state and the importance of that for our healing journey. So the first thing I want to talk about is positive daily routines. And this is a giant part of healing. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, we talk about behavioral activation. And really what we are talking about here is how do we set up our routine and our day to create moments for healing and to create new behavior patterns, new neural pathways in our brain. So throughout the day, do you set aside time and focus on positive, uplifting things? Or do you get drawn into old negative patterns and influences? So a good example of this would be if we have chronic illness and we've been used to just sitting on our couch all day and watching depressing or negative shows, we kind of get caught in that negative feedback loop. And especially if we're fatigued or in pain, we're kind of seeking that adrenaline rush. We're seeking some outlets and we're seeking, different endorphins that we're lacking if we're not moving a lot in our day. So we might get sucked into something like Criminal Minds or, some of these dark shows that are all over TV because we get that little bit of a brain chemistry change when we're watching something like that. It's exciting to us, it engages us, it activates our nervous system. But that's really the opposite of what we need when we're trying to heal. And what we do consume starts to become our reality, and we identify with those things. Another example of this would be if you do have mystery illnesses or chronic illnesses, you often might spend a lot of time on illness support groups or Googling symptoms, Googling treatments and medications, and then it starts to just define your reality, define your identity. So some ideas here for daily routines would be whatever you do currently, try to write that down. Schedule from the time you wake up to the time you fall asleep in a journal or on a piece of paper, and just note what does each hour look like in your day. And then maybe just start changing one of those things at a time. So if the first thing you do when you wake up is jump on your phone and search on Facebook, maybe just start with changing that and having it be a time for reflection or journaling, or even just putting on YouTube and putting in, a daily affirmation or a guided meditation during that time. Over time, we can change some more of those things. It's usually easiest to start with that first activity we do when we wake up or the last activity before bed, and then kind of work inward from there. And we do want to make sure that we're giving ourselves time to still enjoy things we like. It's not horrible to like watching certain shows, but instead of spending a whole day watching those shows, trying to limit that time. Or if part of our illness or what we're struggling with depression is, low energy, we do want to put time in there to watch TV during the day. There's nothing wrong with that, but can we change the content of what we're watching? Can we surround ourselves with positive things, with comedies, with watching inspirational things that just elevate our mood overall? And just starting small, one thing at a time. Some ideas we could put in here are mindfulness, meditation, going outside for a walk, eating our breakfast or drinking our coffee outside instead of inside, little things like that. Our thoughts matter. So C.S. Lewis has a quote, and there's so many quotes like this, but we are what we believe we are. So every day, everything that we think, it defines who we are, it defines what we do, it defines how we see ourselves. And a key component to so many brain retraining programs and neuro-linguistic programming is envisioning and visualizing ourselves in a better place, in a place of healing and doing well. So if we spend time each day saying negative things, forecasting negative things, ruminating about all the negatives in our lives, it's going to start to shape more of our identity. And so you see this in someone who is just like, I'm depressed, rather than someone who says, yep, I struggle with depression from time to time, or someone who's like, I'm just an anxious mess, rather than someone who says, yep, sometimes I struggle with anxiety. And same with, even something that is not, that we would never think has anything to do with this, but someone with cancer who just identifies as, yes, I have cancer and it's my whole life, versus I'm healing from cancer. I am actively working on getting into remission. It makes a huge difference in outcomes for people who achieve remission based on how they're visualizing their success, how they're visualizing their battle against something that they're struggling with. And this goes for chronic pain, chronic fatigue, all of these things as well. And it isn't to say that it's all in your head. It's definitely not. It's just the idea that how we believe we're capable of healing and curing ourselves makes a huge difference in our ability to heal and in our ability to regenerate, in our ability to battle through something. If we see ourselves as strong and powerful and we can visualize a future very clearly where we're healthy and healed, it makes a big difference. So something we could do right now in this moment is just to close our eyes and imagine a time in the future where we want to be maybe 3 years from now. If over the next 3 years we are able to heal and we've dedicated so much of our energy to healing, we work with our providers, we work with our brain, we work with our bodies, we do all of these things on our journey. Visualize where you want to be, and maybe that's the ability to go on a vacation with your family, and you can visualize yourself at the ocean, hearing the sounds, feeling the sand under your feet, hearing the waves, seeing your children laughing next to you. Or maybe it's something even simpler than that. Maybe it's not a vacation, but maybe it's just waking up in the morning and being able to stretch and feeling healthy, feeling energized for your day, imagining what you're going to do in that day, picturing the successes that you're going to have with talking with people, interacting with the world, cooking a healthy dinner, all of these things, but envisioning it fully, feeling yourself there, using all of your senses to believe that you are there and feeling it, living it as if it's happening. And then over time, if we do that every day, we will start to form those pathways in our brain as if it's already happening. Our brain doesn't know the difference. If we tell our brain that it's true and we show our brain with all of these visualizations that it's happening, we will begin to get there. Another great place to start is what we surround ourselves with. So decluttering our space is huge. They have done so much research linking our space, our clutter, our environment with our mental well-being. There is a correlation between the amount of clutter in your space and depression, and it definitely goes both ways. So the more clutter that you surround yourself with, the more you're going to get depressed and feel overwhelmed. But also when you struggle with depression, it's harder to clean and keep things organized. So a good start here is going on kind of a minimalism journey and decluttering a lot of things that maybe you're holding on to that you don't need, and it will make it easier to keep things clean and organized. But also when we start to let go of things that no longer serve us, and we let go of these attachments to things that are old or kind of useless or bring us down, things that we identify with our old identities and our old personalities that we want to let go of, we notice it becomes so much easier to create a new sense of self, to focus on positives, to open up that doorway to bring in new activities, new insights, new identities, all of these healthy changes that we want to make. Also, positive peers. A big, maybe controversial topic in brain retraining and healing is that the more we surround ourselves with these support groups, especially chronic pain and chronic illness support groups, we might notice that we feel a lot worse over time. And a lot of this is if every single time you log on to Facebook or go onto an email list, you're just seeing constantly every day people with similar issues to you complaining about how much worse they're feeling or talking about new symptoms or worsening symptoms. That's what your brain is focused on for that whole day, and it's just constant. We do have a place for, positive peers and support groups being awesome for us, And especially on your brain retraining journey, there are some awesome Facebook groups and different groups online. And if you type in, like brain retraining or positive psychology and positive peers and healing chronic illness, you're going to find groups of people who literally have it in their group rules. No talking about symptoms, no talking about illness. We are only talking about brain retraining, positive psychology, and new insights. So it really does help to get your brain out of those pathways and those negative, um, you know, dead end streets that we get stuck in. And so trying to find things like that, or on a whole different side, just finding activities and groups and peers that have nothing to do with illness or healing whatsoever. Maybe, art clubs or nature clubs or things of that matter. And that goes into our next point, which is spending time in nature. There's definitely research, all over the world, especially Japan, really focuses a lot on prescribing time in nature for illness and for pain. But, even if you are at a place where all you can do is spend your day next to your window looking outside versus maybe now you're in bed and looking at your TV, that makes a difference in the beginning. But over time, spending time outside, walking around in your bare feet, grounding, recharging, getting motivated, getting that sunshine on your skin, taking deep breaths of fresh air, all of those things are really going to help long term. How do we elevate our senses and bring our senses into healing? Well, this has a lot to do with our environment, and this is just talking about incorporating ways that our daily environment, even on a day where we are sitting around or staying in bed or not leaving our house or our apartment, can we have the fresh flowers on the table? Can we have even fake flowers or beautiful, uplifting pictures of nature around us? Can we diffuse essential oils, or can we take up a hobby or an activity that just makes our space feel better and look better? Can we try some new foods? Can we play music on repeat all day that makes us feel inspired and uplifted? Just different ways of changing our routine that can be so simple and can be very passive and going on in the background that will make a big difference overall. So we want to look at creativity and healing, and how can we add, moments of this to our day where we feel inspired, we use our own creativity, we use our own gifts and talents. This can be something as simple as looking up a new recipe to cook, starting an art journal where every morning we just draw something very simple. Instead of using words, we use images, maybe trying watercolors, arranging flowers from our garden, learning an instrument, singing along to a song, getting some adult coloring books, just anything to spark that creativity. And it will help us connect to this sense of magic and art that maybe we had as a child and lost along the way. Anything that brings us, energizing and fresh perspectives and just motivates us to see the world in a new light. Positive associations are another integral part of brain retraining. We can overcome negative habits and old thoughts and behavior patterns with positive associations. This is a way of overriding old negative loops and patterns and replacing them with more positive outcomes. One example could be associating eating food with watching a favorite comedy, so that we associate something that may have a negative connotation, like food sensitivities, with something positive. We also might try something along the lines of getting out of bed in the morning and instantly rewarding ourselves with a favorite food, rather than starting the day with negative thought patterns. We can also use mantras and positive affirmations such as, "I am strong and healing every day," when we're working on morning routines or different activities throughout the day. Do we often catch ourselves using negative self-talk? This is a great time to put a positive affirmation as a replacement. You may want to put sticky notes throughout your house as a reminder to use positive affirmations. Even something as simple as putting on music and singing and dancing while doing chores can shift our mood and mindset throughout the day. We want to have positive associations to reframe and rewire our brain, turning the amygdala out of fight or flight mode and engaging our feel-good receptors with dopamine and serotonin, and associating that with things that used to cause symptoms will help overall. It really is that simple. Working on brain retraining does not have to be difficult. Get started with what we have discussed so far today, working on rewiring, reaffirming, and focusing on all the positives. laughing, dancing, time in nature, setting up our routine in a different way, learning how to structure our beliefs and focus on the positives. It doesn't mean it's all in your head. It just means that working on our cognitions and emotions will set the path to healing. It can be much easier to uncover the underlying root causes of illness or pain once we are in a positive mindset and paving the way to heal. I hope that you can find healing today and start your path to rewiring your brain and retraining your way to wellness. Thank you.